Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We are here this afternoon because we're getting ready to celebrate our 25th anniversary for Habitat, now Fulton Center. And you have been a part of that the whole time. For 25 years, we have built 10 houses, and half of them have paid for their homes. And so it is time for us to celebrate rather than just to look around. So what I'm having here, first of all, is a booklet to let you see where we have come from a mighty and a mighty long way. And I'd like to share that book with the board members, if you don't mind. It has been a struggle, but you have helped all the way. And we are proud of what we have done thus far, and we are planning to do much more in the near future. And the second thing that I have on the agenda, that where we all can play a part now, that we're trying to build our 11th house, and that, you know, with God's help, we all can do the most impossible things. And that I'm hoping that if, with your help, that we will get this house built within this year's time. That December, I'm hoping that we'll be able to give this new family, the 11th house, a new family in this house. And this is what I'm going to pass out to you at this particular time. I think Honorable James Brown is first. I think I have an extra one for the independent messenger too.
Thank you. He's in there.
If anyone wants an extra copy, I do have them. And this letter reads as this. I don't have my glasses, but I'm going to attempt to read it with the letter that you have. This is on behalf of the Emporia Greensville Fuller Center for Housing and the Board of Directors. We are greatly appreciate for the donation you previously made to the Emporia Greensville Habitat for Humanity, presently the Emporia Greensville Fuller Center for Housing. With your help, our objective is to build our 11th house this year for another needed family. We are asking all churches for a donation of $500. Individuals are asked for a donation of $100 or any amount the Lord has blessed you with. During our Building on Faith program, which will be held in September, all churches contributing $500 and all individuals contributing $100 will appear on our program. And this is what we are asking you, that we do want your name on our program because you've been a part with us for 25 years. And we are looking forward to have a great celebration in September, but we can't have it without your input. And we are looking for your input to be with us on that particular day. If there are any questions, I would like to, I will entertain them, and if not, that if you just read that little part that I gave you and respond, and in that letter, we have a self-addressed envelope in there where you will not have any trouble in making your donation. Thank you very much, and we appreciate your listening to us, and we are looking forward of seeing you in September. May God bless you and may God keep you.
Thank you, brother.
Reverend Pugh, we thank you for the hard work that you and your team have done with the Fuller House, and are excited to see the progress as you all start building this house for Greensville for you. Next item on the agenda, we have Mr. Reed Foster, Sussex County Project Safety Coordinator, is here to present a request for funding to cover the cost of a new fire engine at the Jarrett Volunteer Fire Department. Mr. Foster, and that is attachment G in your agenda packet.
Chairman, members of the board, acting county administrator, my name is Reed Foster, public safety coordinator for Sussex County. I have with me tonight County Administrator Richard Douglas, Supervisor Rufus Tyler, and the Chief of Jarrett Fire Department, Mr. Kyle Wells. Tonight, I'm asking for assistance in the purchase of a fire engine for the Jarrett Volunteer Fire Department. Give you a history. In March of 2019, I was instructed by the former county administrator of Sussex County to come up with a CIP plan for Sussex County. I gathered the Sussex County Fire and Rescue Association together. We started in March of 2019, and in May of 2019, we presented that plan to the former county administrator of Sussex. That administrator asked us to dig a little deeper and make it a 10-year plan. So we went back to the drawing board and we came up with a 10-year capital outlay plan. That plan was pushed forward, pushed back, pushed forward, pushed back, and we finally came together with the current board of supervisors and the county administrator and got the approval to go ahead with the first phase of this plan. First phase of this plan called for buying 3 fire trucks, 2 brush trucks, and 2 medic units. With the help of the Sussex County Fire and Rescue Association, we reached out to 4 fire apparatus people, which was KME, Pierce, E1, and Rosenbauer. Out of that, 2 responded to our request, which was Pierce and KME, to sit down at the table and design a set of specifications for a fire engine. We were able, with state fire programs money and money that the county put forward, to buy the 2 brush trucks. We were able to secure a grant from the Rescue Association to buy an ambulance, which left us with the 3 fire trucks and 1 medic unit. So we put that out to bid. We got 2 proposals back from KME and Pierce. The price that came in under contract for Jared's fire truck was $613,980. We went back to the drawing board on that proposal, and we ended up negotiating that price down to $612,417. So we took this proposal to the Sussex County Administrator. We sat down, we went over the 3 bids for the fire truck and the medic. We then took it to the Sussex County Board of Supervisors, and they approved the purchase of the 3 fire trucks and 1 medic unit. Once we got that done, we reached out, the county wanted to see how they could finance these trucks. We had received a proposal from Pierce on how to finance these 3 pumpers. And the county decided that they wanted to reach out and see if they could do better on a proposal. So we did that. We came back. We got the help of Davenport Financial Services, and we were able to get a better rate over 10 years to purchase these 3 fire trucks. So that brings us to tonight. It has been traditionally that Greensville County paid half of the fire truck for the Jared Volunteer Fire Department. We have 2 options we'd like to present to you tonight, depending on which one y'all would like to go with. The first one, as been done in the past, y'all have made the bulk payment of half of the cost of the truck. Tonight, I'd like to propose to you that we do this under the master lease program that Sussex County has signed and do it over 10 years, which would bring your payment over 10 years to $34,349.14 a year. I believe this is a good option for the county of Greensville to participate in the purchase of this fire truck, means you don't have to make a lump sum payment. So the request tonight is for the Greensville County to support the Jared Volunteer Fire Department in purchasing this half of this fire truck over 10 years, with the payment being $34,349.14. I'm here to answer any questions you may have. I thank you for your time, and I look forward to working with y'all on this project.
I do have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
For years, Greensville County has funded the Jared Firehouse well above what Sussex County gives the firehouse. If you all are planning on making such a large purchase, why weren't we notified before it gets to this point? If you want me to help you pay for something, it looks like you would include me in the process of getting it, to know even if that's even in my budget. But you all have already procured everything, you've done everything, and now you come to us behind, late, in my opinion. What was the reason for
Ma'am, I had one meeting with the former Greensville County Administrator and Mr. Reggie Owens about a year ago to tell them what the project was and what we were doing. I could not give them facts and figures until I had the price in front of me, and that's why we're here tonight.
that? Okay, they never told, I know, they never told me, so I can't speak for them, so.
Let me tell you this thing. I mean, Greensville County, this board makes decisions. So you talk, I'm gonna say to not the right people. Because you're asking this board to make a decision, but you didn't see no reason to talk to this board. You said you talked to somebody else about a year ago.
Yes, sir.
All right, but you didn't talk to this board.
I followed the chain of command to
The
the,
change the head in right here. You didn't come here.
anyone else have any questions for me? I thank you very kindly for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Foster. Board members, would you like to go ahead and make a decision at this time? If so, we'll need a motion as to what your decision is going to be.
No one made a motion, so we do just a vote.
We would need a motion as, if you all are going to make the decision tonight, as it will impact our budget. As we have another budget session scheduled for Monday, we would ask that you consider, making it either if you defer, we'll have to come back at a later time and work on the budget again for that aspect. We just need to know if you all are going to make a decision tonight.
We'll defer.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda, we have Sheriff William Jarrett, who is here to present a request for a multi-year contract for body cameras and associated technology services. Mr. Jarrett and Mr. Ernie, our IT manager, is also here to present.
Good afternoon, Chair. Good afternoon, board members.
Good evening.
The reason we come to you this evening, our body worn cameras and our in-car cameras are starting to become obsolete. The technical part of it, after a certain period of time, becomes obsolete. We have been purchasing these cameras since we started back 6-7 years ago. And the price of cameras are almost tripled now. Then we're having to buy a license, but every time we upgrade, we're having to buy a different license so that the cameras can download. It's mandated by the Commonwealth of Virginia that we have these cameras, and then we have to have storage for at least 2 years for all the body camera films, which we've had our own system that the Greensville County IT has built over the years, but it's starting to fill up. That's becoming obsolete too. So we come together and decide with the staff of the IT and the sheriff's office, see what would be the best fit. Looking at it, it appears that doing our research, we butt off to lease the cameras, in-car cameras and body-worn cameras, and with the lease comes a storage, central storage for all our videos. So IT, Ryan Ernie, done the research on the cost with the leasing of the equipment, and we were presented a contract through Axon, which was formerly Taser, which is in the big market now for the body-worn cameras and in-car cameras, along with the Tasers. He can break down the costs, any questions you have on that. But I will say, I think the contract is for a 5-year deal. It's a lease. When the cameras go down, without breaks, all we have to do is call them. They'll send the cameras back. It will help support our IT with the download and with the storage. It is a 5-year deal. The county attorney has the contract, and to my knowledge, he's not finished reviewing it yet. At the end of his review, and if he approves, I would like to ask this board if they will approve it, give chairperson or the acting county administrator, the authority to sign off if it's approved, and agreed by everybody. The cost of this will come out of our e-ticket citation money. We're not asking for extra money. This is money that's built into tickets for people to pay their fines and cost of court. So the money is already there to help start this generator.
Good evening, Board. Do you have any questions for me at this time?
Mr. Chairman, if I may add this, I have an appointment tomorrow to speak to Axon folks to negotiate some terms of the contract. This contract is about 150 pages long. I've contacted the city of Roanoke, which has already been through this process. I'm going to use them to shorten my learning curve. But I am talking to Axon tomorrow. I'll have a report to you soon after that.
Thank you.
And if we can, with your permission, we ask the board to consider the following motion, as Mr. Slayton stated. It's over 150 pages of the contract. If the board chooses to do so, we ask that they move for the board to authorize the board chair or acting county administrator, either of whom may act in returning the contract between the county and Axon Enterprises, subject to review and approval of the contract by the county attorney prior to its signing.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
It's been moved in second to approve this, project. All in favor with a roll call vote?
Ms. Astrop,
Aye.
Mr. Brown,
Aye.
Mr. Kane,
Aye.
Mr. Conway.
Aye.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, we have item D, which is amendment to the personnel policy. Mr. Slayton.
The board is aware of public comment in a number of regards concerning the employment agreement with Dr. Terrence Wood. The board is reacting to that tonight in two ways. One is it was a provision discussed with Dr. Wood that he would report not to the county administrator, but instead to the board of supervisors. The board is removing that from the agreement, and he will report to the county administrator as do other department heads. The second is the sequencing. The board has negotiated with Dr. Wood for some benefits, incentives for him to come here, which were not permitted under the personnel policy. And they knew that, and knew that effect. What they decided is they need to get the personnel policy amended first to allow the incentives, and then later act on his agreement. The incentives in question, as I'm sure you folks know, if you're here, you've read it because it's been posted on the internet. Number one was that Dr. Wood, in coming here, would forfeit a significant amount of sick leave from the employee he was departing from. The board quantified that, got a letter from the county manager of Northampton County, North Carolina, had that amount quantified and agreed to pay that amount to him as an incentive for him to leave Northampton County, North Carolina, and commence his employment here. The other incentive that they negotiated with him was because of the length of his employment, that he would start here not as a first-year employee, but a year 15 employee, which would mean that he would accrue vacation leave at an accelerated rate. Those are awarded to employees at the beginning, after 5, 10, 15, 20, and 25 years. You earn more vacation leave. The board agreed with Dr. Wood that he would come in earning that vacation leave at the level of a 15-year employee. So at this point, to get the sequencing right, the board is considering adopting the following. This amendment authorizes the board to forward incentive payments. Examples: to offset the value of benefits lost by a candidate accepting employment by Greensville, and to afford the employee the right to earn vacation leave at a higher rate than the county's entry level. And so it's before the board to adopt that amendment to the personnel plan by motion.
I move that we amend personnel policy per Mr. Slayton's explanation.
Second.
Been moved in second to the amendment. All in favor with a roll call vote?
Ms. Astrop,
Aye.
Mr. Brown,
Aye.
Mr. Kane,
Aye.
Mr. Conway.
No. The next item we have on the agenda is citizens' comments. Mr. Slayton has something to share in regards to citizens' comments in the time frame. After Mr. Slayton shares that, I do have a sign-up list, and we will call each person individually up on the sign-up list.
You folks, those who've been here previously have heard this, but I'll review it as we do whenever we get to citizen comment. The board has developed a protocol to ensure that board meetings and public hearings are productive and efficient and that decorum is maintained. The board wants to emphasize that the protocol is intended to make the board meetings and public hearings as productive as possible. Having said that, here's the protocol. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes to address the board. I will be the timekeeper. I will notify each speaker when he or she has 1 minute remaining. I will notify each speaker when his or her time is up. The board would ask that at that point, the speaker cease addressing the board. Speakers are allowed to address the board only once. One person cannot donate his 3 minutes to another. Once you speak 3 minutes, you have had your turn. The board asks that the comments be directed to the board, that you not turn around and address the audience trying to engage them. If you would, please keep your comments directed to the board supervisors. The board asks, obviously, that everyone in attendance be respectful to each other as well as to the board, and that there be no outburst of applause or cheering, please. And would ask, although Mr. Cypress will give a name, would ask when you come up, if you would, just to confirm for the record, please state your name and address for the record, and we will follow the sign-up sheet. So those are the rules to be followed. And again, I'm sorry for the interruption. When you hit the 2 minute mark, I'll let you know. Thank you.
Mike Ferguson.
Good start for me. A hearing aid just come out. So in there, I'll put it back in. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, board of supervisors and members, guests. I assume you know who I am. I'm Mike Ferguson, former board of supervisor member for 33 years. And on the Greensville County School Board for 4 years. Well, I served Greensville County for 37 years. I feel that after many years, I understand how politics should not get in the way of how things should run. I have not attended many board meetings since being removed from the board because I want to give the board a chance to change and run smoothly. My heart is dedicated to Greensville County. And things I've been told in the last 6 weeks bother me. A county administrator was removed from her position as a county employee. I had a lot of phone calls because people in the county who are not happy with the way things are. But we are now at a place that it must be explained why. Also in the last week, I'm hearing that there's a position advertised, and that just got changed a while ago when Mr. Blake spoke. At a certain salary, you had an applicant for a position with a college degree in the same application, had 20 years plus of experience, who was told a decision was made before he was interviewed. How do you think he felt? I don't know. I understand how an offer can be made for $20,000 greater than the offer publicized and more annual leave than a county employee who has been in service for 15 years. I've been told the atmosphere in the county office is tense by the county employees who feel that they can't say on what's on their mind. I understand after checking that this position that is on the agenda has had over 9 jobs in the last 18 years. When I was on the board, we checked background info. I feel if you do the job, you should not need to leave so often. All of this is hearsay. That a new school building program is now being bidded out, as in the past, It's not been bid out as in the past, and I offered more than once to help because I care for Greensville County and its citizens, but I have not been approached for any assistance. Thank you and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Clint Slade.
Clint Slade, 103 Beach Lane. I sat back here and I'm not one for writing things down. I speak my mind, I speak what's going on, and I sit back here and I witness this display of what went on tonight, make sure we get everything lined up for the book, make, cast votes, get everything the way it needs to be. But I guess, once again, it gets down to, I want to see the strings. I want to see what goes on. I listened to nobody in this room have discussion. I don't know how capable anybody on this board is to make a decision, because I don't get the benefit of those decisions being made. Nobody else gets the benefit of those decisions. Behind those closed doors, I guess y'all come to a consensus. I want to see it, I want to hear it, I want to experience it. So then it gets down to the point you negotiate. Well, I can say that I'm not impressed by your negotiating. It looks to me like this man came in here and told you what he wanted, and he took it, he got it. And just to call it like it is, when I was a child, and I remember looking at these boards, whether it's the city council board of supervisors, they were made up of business folks. Folks that knew how to take their hands, another group of hands, and make a dollar, make a successful business. I'm running a third generation successful business today. I will see that when I look at you people. You people are not business folks. And this county, this community is a business. So with that being said, you sit on your board, you sit up there and you make these decisions, but you try to surround yourself with knowledge. You've got knowledge that's past. You've got a supervisor for 30 plus years that's no longer on the board. You've got a county administrator, Dave Whittington, with, I guess, 40 some years. He's gone. You've got Moses Clemens who passed. And then you've got Brenda Paulson, 32 years. You've eliminated all of your background and experience in the building, except for maybe that gentleman sitting right there, Mr. Gibson. So now we come down and we're going to create a HR position. You need it. But that position is not as important as others. And why you would come in here and alter a salary like you did is a disgrace, and it's testimony that you are not business people. You need some help. Look to those that know better. Thank you, Mr. Swain.
Thank you. Fred Maldonado.
Good evening. My comments were prepared before I heard what Mr. Slayton said, but I'm going to stick to my comments. My name is Desiderio Alfredo Maldonado. That's quite a mouthful, isn't it? My friends call me Fred. I first came to the Nottaway District in 1973. I currently serve as chairman of the Employee Greensville Republican Committee. I'm sure each of you will agree that it is a high honor to be elected to the board by a resident of Greensville County. As you know, all local government officials take the following oath. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia, and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge all the duties incumbent upon me as a board member according to the best of my ability, so help me God. Now, when I hear the word impartially, to me this means I will never be a bully toward my board members, nor the county staff. I will never play favorites toward any prospective employee, and I will make up my own mind regarding all issues. The oath is a staple of representative government whereby elected officials represent the wishes of the folks who voted them in the office in the first place. And how do you, as elected officials, know the wishes of the many, many bosses you have? Well, of course, you must communicate with your bosses and seek their permission to move forward on a particular endeavor. After all, you are spending our money. I ask the entire board to keep in mind the phrase representative government as you consider hiring the HR director. The questions I had: has the entire board seen his resume? Did his resume check out for accuracy and honesty? May the county resident see his resume? Does the applicant jump from job to job? Do our neighboring counties have HR directors? Does the board consider hiring an HR agency rather than hiring his own HR director? To whom will the director report? We have that answer. What will be the location of his office? Finally, will the salary and benefit package be commensurate to hiring packages offered to other county employees? Here's my bottom line. Remember your oath. Never try to pull the wool over the eyes of your bosses. Stay away from nepotism. It's frowned on for a very good reason. Never be a bully. Nobody likes a bully. Study each issue on your own and do not rely on anyone else to guide your vote. Remember, your bosses need to know. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike Ray.
Hey, good evening, everybody. First, I'd like to say, Mr. Pugh should be an example to everyone in this room. Great teacher. I'll never forget the guy. Great to see you, Mr. Pugh. Good work he does. My name is Mike Ray, 583 Scotland Drive. You've seen me here before. And I will say this, I'll probably run out of 3 minutes, but watching this board change the rules in the game when it comes to public comments, or we're gonna rewrite the HR policy to fit the rules we broke when we decided it is damn disgusting. But anyway, I'll go with what I wrote. My name is Mike Ray. I live in the Nottaway District. I'd like to start by officially requesting to be added to the agenda for the next supervisor meeting. What I want to discuss is the dissatisfactory performance from this governing body. Regardless of what this board thinks, let me tell y'all something. You are not kings and queens, and the citizens of this county are not just subjects to be ruled over. You're not a dictator. You're not a ruler. Tonight, you show me you're not even a leader. You're elected representatives, and you serve the pleasure of the citizens. It seems the board has forgotten these facts. You got individuals on this board running around making decisions on their own, acting on behalf of Greensville County without any concern or concurrence from your elected board members sitting beside you. I want to be more aware of what's going on in this county long before decisions or votes are taken. I want to be invited to take part in an open discussion and debates on topics before they're made. Many times I've heard Mr. Slayton make it clear to me that no questions are going to be answered, and no board member is going to comment, and I've got 3 minutes, and there's going to be no open dialogue with the board of supervisors. When do the citizens get to ask a question this board will answer? When do the citizens get an open dialogue with this board?
1 minute.
When do the citizens get to dialogue with this board? The way this board is governed, it's more important now than ever to have the citizens provide some oversight. I, along with many other like-minded citizens of Greensville County, intend to hold this board accountable. Our goal is to be governed by fellow citizens who will always, without question, make the right decision. Our community has a long, well-known history of being resilient when faced with crisis. Our community has always gotten by with neighbors helping neighbors, and our community has a reputation for just being kind, generous, polite, and welcoming. We must concentrate on these strengths that define us as who we are. We do not have time or the desire to fall victim to the issues that are plaguing this nation. We do not want to join everyone else and display how easily we can be divided. We want to display our strength and count on it, and show everyone how hard Greensville County will work to stay united. I appreciate your time, and I look forward to seeing you at the next meeting, and I promise we will be watching.
Thank you. Lexi Jones.
Alexis Jones, 11 300 Purdy Road. Good evening, Mr. Chair, fellow Board of Supervisor members in our community. I'd like to begin my remarks with reading an excerpt from Ephesians. Since you really listened to him and you were taught how the truth is in Jesus, change your former way of life that was corrupted by deceitful desires. Instead, clothe yourself in likeness of God in true righteousness and holiness. Therefore, after you have gotten rid of lying, each of you must tell the truth to your neighbor, because we are parts of the same body. Thieves should no longer steal, instead they should go to work, using their hands to do good, so that they will have something to share with whomever is in need. These words teach us to tell the truth and to use our hands to build up our community. These words should resonate with each of you in each decision and each move you make, but I question your loyalty and honesty for these reasons. As a community, we recently became aware of a public presentation that delivered information sharing how a non-local citizen utilized our county attorney for personal endeavors. So with this, it leads us, our community, to believe we now have the right for equal use of the county attorney to provide equal use of the county attorney for private, non-governmental supported endeavors. This is a terrific asset for our community, and we urge the community to submit their individual and private attorney needs to the Board of Supervisors, and legal services will be rendered as taxpayers' services shall serve our taxpayer population in its entirety. 2, we seek clarification on the new structure presented in the Human Resources Director position. Although you corrected it, it was stated specifically in the advertisement that this position, I quote, shall be used under supervision of the county administrator. Yet the resolution stated, I quote again, report directly to the Board of Supervisors over the county administrator. 3, clarification is being sought about the term work-life balance. Where is this position expected to report? Typically, positions of this caliber are considered supervisory and always report to an office building. 4, we question your willingness to allow an individual to leverage and payment for time served in another state. We are in the Commonwealth of Virginia, not North Carolina. 5th, negotiated salary is $20,000 above the advertised salary range. Where is your honest stewardship of taxpayer monies? And why is salary higher than nearly every other longstanding employee of Greensville County? 6, I'd like to share some information we collected from our neighboring communities. Mecklenburg County, no HR personnel. The assistant county administrator serves as HR with 23 years of experience and a salary of $91,260 employees. Southampton County, no HR personnel. HR functions are managed by the county administrator and accounting departments, 148 employees, including institutional officers. Greensville County has 172 employees. County administrator makes $131,000, and the assistant county administrator makes $87,000. As I sit here looking at each of you as you sit here and look at your community members' eyes, I remind you to not lie, to not be deceitful, and to not steal. Instead, be honest, hardworking, transparent, good stewards, and do all things for the well-being of this community.
Good job.
Thank you. Chris Thompson.
Good evening, Chris Thompson, 5430 Prairie Road, Emporium, Board of Supervisors. These are my comments. As you all know, I applied for the HR position with the county. As some of you may know, not everyone was there. I had 20 plus years experience as an HR director, 25 years for the same company. I was born and raised and lived here all my life, except for 4 years to study, and my concentration was in human resource development from James Madison University. What bothers me the most about the process is I was informed, and I'm trying to get more information on it, that the person that was hired is related to a member of the board. Now, in my world, that is considered, if it's true, that is considered nepotism, it is unethical, and it's abuse of your power as a county official. Okay, I will tell you that I'm not here. I wouldn't take this job and work for this board for $1 million. After I found out I didn't get the job, I found that Brenda Paulson was removed from office without cause after 30-some years of experience. I don't know what the agendas are or what's going on, but it's definitely not to run the county as it should be run. And then finally, I will say, when you all start looking at this building new schools and look at the equality equation, you need to look very carefully, because a person that is tied up with that and presented to the Greensville County School Board attacked me, attacked other members of our community that are residents, said that I was privileged, didn't even know me. My grandparents were sharecroppers, my dad was a mailman. I don't know how much privilege that is, but I know I've worked for everything that I've gotten in this life. Said I was privileged, referred to me as being white privileged, and further on, said that I was upset about the hiring of Dr. Wood because he was a black man. And that now I feel, he said I felt oppressed because things are now equal. Well, that is certainly not the truth. That is me. That person that is looking at building our schools does not know me. I would have questioned and would still question whether this had been a white person with a white board of supervisors, if it was nepotism. And I look at this job, this resume, and see people jumping from job to job, and I wonder what's the true reason of the hire. Thank you.
Good job, good.
Thank you. Lauren and Sharon.
Good evening, Board of Supervisors and fellow citizens. I'm Lauren Sharon. I reside at 507 Maharon Street. I'm voicing my concern today regarding the presentation that was given on April 12th, a week ago, to Greensville County Public School Board. In this presentation, it regarded a proposal to build a new complex in the county that would service a new high school, sports, and CTE complex. I do understand the need for a new school with better sports facilities, as well as the need for vocational training. However, the presentation left me with major concerns regarding a few key issues. So it's proposed that the city would not be involved in this project. Our schools are funded federally and by the state, as we know, as well as by the city and county. Why would we deliberately exclude the city when we already struggle financially to support the community needs? This is being proposed as a private facility in which the county would rent the land, and there would be a license agreement and fees for use of the facility by the school system. Who profits from this, and will it be put back into the community or only profit the outside private entity? That's concerning. There's an MOU in place with the state currently. How would that be affected? And is it legal in Virginia to build a public school system in a for-profit, privately owned building? Is it feasible to our community? The site control would be under a private entity, described as a long-term partnership and privately financed. I worry that if the city and county split, it can potentially mean the city's forced to build its own schools. Is this in the best interest of our community? I've heard a lot about expertise in real estate, vocational facilities, improved sports complexes. However, I've heard nothing about how we plan to improve the infrastructure and elevate the quality of education for our children. A shiny new building will improve our children's educational experience and give them the academic foundation we all know they deserve and are entitled to. How is this addressed in this proposal to better our community? Our city and county have enough financial struggles. Would this be a future burden to taxpayers? It's probably a private entity, and if it separates our city and county, when we're already struggling financially, we have a problem. It just doesn't make sense. A shiny distraction that doesn't solve a problem, it needs to be addressed. We just need answers. And I do know we need improved facilities. We need better sports complex. We need vocation. But let's do it where it helps our whole community, all our children.
Thank you. Valerie Woodley.
Valerie Woodley, 81 Porterman Road in Port Virginia. Good afternoon, board members. I am here to show my support and comment on the board's upcoming action regarding the human resource manager, which has already they put forth. Working in banking for over 30 years, I understand the importance of having checks and balances in place. This new position will ensure that employees, staff, and board members alike are evaluated and monitored with guidelines and procedures that are equal for all, something that has been lacking in the past. I thank you for your time. Good job, board members.
Thank you.
Thank you. Tamika Woodley.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Tamika Woodley, Quartermoon Road, Emporia, Virginia, Greensville County. I'm excited and glad to be here. To the Board of Supervisors, thank you for the work that you do. I understand that daily decisions have to be made, and it is hard and it's difficult, and you cannot please everyone. Statistically, if you would do research, you will see in 2021, most people, including myself, do not stay on a job over 2 years. However, I promise you, we're extremely experienced in the work that we do. We needed an HR position. You made sure that happened. I commend you for doing it as quickly as you did, and I appreciate that. I trust that you are doing what is best for all citizens of Greensville County. Thank you. Please continue to do a good job. Thank you for reviewing all policies and procedures, old and new, and making amendments and adjustments as needed. Thank you for being a voice and for not wavering. Thank you for being kind. Thank you for being patient. I'm sure you have many sleepless nights, but I appreciate all that you do. Please continue to be steadfast and unmovable in the work that you do. Thank you.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is old business. Item A, library energy study. The city of Emporia has requested an update on this item. No action was taken on this item at the March 1st, 2021 board meeting. Action is requested at this time.
Comments? Vote on
I have no comments. Do you all have any comments?
No.
I do have a comment. Basically, when they came before us the last time, it was just an energy study. They didn't come to us prior, let us know anything that was going on. It just basically put a Band-Aid on something that needs to be really fixed. We need to be able to offer our community so much more than what our current library offers our community. They weren't even able to go in and let us know exactly as a county what we would be paying for. Said that they couldn't break it out between the city and the county, so they couldn't even really give us a figure of what we would even support. So since they couldn't give us any of that information, I knew that we do not support this study.
One second.
Roll call vote.
Ms. Astrop,
Uh-huh.
Mr. Brown, Mr. Kane, Mr. Howard.
The next item on the agenda is the Greensville Emporia Combined Court bonus request. This item was deferred from the April 5th, 2021 board meeting. Action is requested. If you all will let us know if you all would like to deny or approve the request. Ms. Wilson may be here if you all like to ask her any additional questions.
I don't have any questions for her. I will just say that these employees are not county employees as much as I would love to give them a bonus. Being that they are not county employees, they are state employees. The state should be, gave bonuses to employees. I'll move that we do not give bonuses as requested.
Second. Move in second. On in.
Ms. Astrop, Mr. Brown, Mr. Brown,
No.
Mr. Kane, Mr. Howard.
Aye.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda, other matters. Mr. Slayton, do you have anything in addition to add in regards to the letter of agreement between Greensville County and Dr. Terrence Wood?
Yes, as a board, the public knows, paragraph 5 of the letter of agreement is directed to be removed so that the Director of Human Resources will report to the county administrator on the board. I've got a short, simple resolution. If you adopted, it would approve the letter of agreement as amended and authorize the chair to sign. The resolution does mention some actions that you would take regarding the personnel plan, but that is deleted because you've already taken those actions. So it's appropriate for the board to approve or deny the resolution as amended.
I move that we approve resolution concerning Dr. Terrence Wood.
Second. All in favor, roll call vote.
Ms. Astrop.
Aye.
Mr. Brown.
Aye.
Mr. Kane. Mr. Conway.
No. The next item on the agenda, we have 2 items under this section, is Golden Leaf comments. The first is flooring. Mike Bellicky is here to present a request asking for a transfer of funds in the amount of $5,694 to cover the increased cost of replacing the flooring in the Golden Leaf Commons. This is attachment J in your agenda packet, Mr. Bellicky.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, honorable board members. $50,000 was included in the this current year's capital improvements funding to replace the flooring in the Golden Leaf Commons building. We opened bids on Monday, March 16th. We received 2 bids, but because of the current increase in construction-related materials, the low bid was $55,693.28, which exceeds the allocated money that's in the capital improvements fund. So the staff is requesting that the board authorize the transfer of $5,693.28 from the general fund to Fund 75 in order to fund the project.
I move that we approve the transfer of the funds to replace the floor.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to transfer the funds. All in favor, with roll call vote.
Ms. Astrop.
Aye.
Mr. Brown.
Aye.
Mr. Kane.
Aye.
Mr. Conway.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next item under Golden Leaf Commons is in regards to reopening. Debbie Drummond, facility manager, is here to present and discuss the proposed reopening of the Golden Leaf Commons for rental events per board member request. The memo and information that Ms. Drummond provided you was part of your Friday memo that was dated April 16, 2021. Ms. Drummond.
Good evening, members of the board and administrative staff. Members of the board have requested to reopen the Golden Leaf Commons for private event rentals. If the Board of Supervisors chooses to reopen the Golden Leaf Commons to renters to host private events, the following addendum that is based on the governor's executive orders and mandates, Fourth Amendment number 72 and Order of Public Health Emergency 9, further easing of common sense surge restrictions due to novel coronavirus COVID-19, Fourth Amendment, effective April 1st, 2021, which ensures the executive order will be followed. Our addendum states that all public and private in-person gatherings of more than 50 individuals indoors and 100 individuals outdoors are prohibited. A gathering includes but is not limited to parties, celebrations, or other social events, whether they occur indoors or outdoors. No one with a fever or symptoms of COVID-19, if they have a positive diagnostic test for the virus that causes COVID-19 or known exposure to a COVID-19 case in the prior 14 days, is permitted in the establishment. Patrons must wear a mask when entering the building. Establish policies and practices for maintaining appropriate physical distance between persons who are not family members as defined in the executive order. Renters will need to provide a planned setup to include the number of guests expected to attend the event. The renter will need to also develop a detailed plan and submit it to the staff with information, providing someone to screen and take temperatures upon entry, providing someone to keep count of patrons attending the event, on how they will label the guests from the same household seating areas, details how they will prevent other guests from mingling or being seated together who are not from the same household, how they plan to ensure the 6 feet of physical distance is maintained, how they will meet the routine cleaning and disinfecting guidelines as outlined in the CDC policy, as well as the EPA-approved disinfectants that will be used to clean and disinfect, how they are going to adjust participant flow on areas likely to become bottlenecks or pinch points, and on how the requirements listed in this amendment will be met, and how the guidelines and requirements will be enforced at the gathering. Violations of the governor's executive orders and mandates shall be a Class 1 misdemeanor pursuant to 44-146.17 of the Code of Virginia, and law enforcement officer is defined in 9.1-101 of the Code of Virginia, including the Virginia Department of State Police, may enforce these restrictions. COVID-19 has contributed to the Golden Leaf Commons facility hosting meetings with the Board of Supervisors, the Water and Sewer Authority, the Planning Commission, Transportation and Safety Commission, Industrial Development Authority, RIFA, Economic Development, board budget meetings, joint school board meetings, 6 judicial circuit court for Greensville, Brunswick, and Sussex counties, and public health vaccination clinics. These meetings are structured and manned by Greensville County staff. The staff abides by a strict setup of tables and chairs to ensure that social distancing is maintained. Staff also controls the numbers of participants by requiring all who enter to have a wristband. Additionally, all participants are required to complete a series of COVID-related screening questions as well as temperature check. In the event it becomes necessary to contact any attendees who attend the meetings in reference to contact tracing, staff has means to attempt to contact. The county also provides custodial staff to clean and disinfect before, during, and after the meetings, ensuring that the proper CDC cleaning guidelines are being followed. With members of the board requesting to reopen the Golden Leaf Commons for private event rentals at this time, please take in consideration all that I have stated previous and take several concerns by following the governor's executive orders and mandates. For one, our round tables that we provide are only 5 feet in diameter. Only one guest can be seated at each table when they are not family members from the same household. It would put 3 members of our staff at risk working the event, especially while trying to ensure that all patrons are abiding by the executive order in reference to the bar, food, and dancing areas. And when you add alcohol consumption, it can create even more of a challenge in enforcing the requirements. The Golden Leaf Commons calendar is cleared for private social events through the end of May. Staff has reached out to other venues that are compatible with our setting as an education center, as well as other private sectors in our surrounding areas to determine how they are operating in compliance with the governor's executive orders and mandates for reopening. 2 are still renting out for any events. 1 will not reopen for private events until 2023. 1 leaves the responsibility to the renter to handle the guidelines as outlined by the governor, with no staff on site during the event. 1 facility has 2 staff members and hires security to ensure the guidelines are followed, and 1 has some restrictions in place. The governor has stated that the health data makes it clear that while Executive Order 72's temporary restrictions can continue to be eased slightly, they must largely remain in place a little longer. In addition, every Virginian must continue to practice measures that are proven to keep people safe. Avoid gatherings with anyone outside your household, practice hand sanitation, maintain proper physical distance from others, stay home when possible, and wear your mask when indoors and in public. He said that we have to continue to work together to keep each other safe. He stated in the guidelines for social gatherings that private events may be held at venues provided that they can comply with these guidelines. Again, as I stated previous, if the governor's executive orders and mandates are not followed, individuals can be charged with a Class 1 misdemeanor. Staff requests the board's direction on how you would like to move forward with this proposed reopening of the Golden Leaf Commons. Are there any questions?
Okay, very clear in your package.
Okay, thank you.
As Ms. Drummond stated, the calendar is currently clear for the month of May. We have had some renters that have reached out recently in regards to the board's decision reopening for their events they had in June. Would you all like to make a decision at this time, or would you all like to defer to a future meeting?
After Ms. Drummond, before you leave, you come back, I got one quick question for Ms. Drummond. How comfortable are you as a supervisor, and you work many events over the year, how comfortable are you opening back up in June?
I'm not comfortable at all, because I know, from the previous events, even when it's not normal, when we are in a normal state, there can be a lot of challenges, especially in the consumption of alcohol. It's gonna be difficult. My concern is, the distribution of food, how that's gonna be handled. And of course, that is in our addendum of where we leave it for the renter to put a plan together of how they can stay in the compliance of the mandation and the bottleneck areas, the areas of dancing, how they, in some you can interpret in the social gathering part of the executive order. It could fall under, they didn't specify dancing, but they specify anything that increases respiration, which of course dancing can fall up under that. That's 10 feet away. I don't know how we would be able to ensure that we could get everybody, if you had a room of 50, it's only 3 of us. So I personally do not feel comfortable myself and putting my attendance at risk as, coming in. So that's just my opinion.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
How would you all like to proceed in regards to the request? Again, we had some potential renters reach out to us in regards to events in June. Would you all like to, again, would you like to make a decision tonight? Would you like to defer? I know the renters were just trying to find some answers to see if they needed to find a different space. And as Ms. Drummond said, as far as having attendance, I would also recommend looking at cost and things of that nature as well, of the rental of the facility versus the cost of having someone here at that time.
I'm going to say this, and we've had a conversation, and Debbie had a conversation, and one of my greatest concerns will always be liability. That would be my greatest concern. I just, we have all this to go on, and I don't think we have a function under these circumstances, and that's going to be a lot.
Well, if you vote on it, I'm gonna vote no, so we can prepare it.
Staff asked direction of how you like to proceed. Would you like to proceed with canceling the events in June and July? Would you like to proceed with canceling events for a different time span, just so we can notify the renters who are on the calendar?
I think we need to delay open.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, so at this time, you are requesting a delayed opening, requesting events that are scheduled in June and July to be canceled, and will you all revisit the matter at a future date?
Yes. Yes.
If we can have a motion, in regard to that, please.
I move that we delay the opening until through July and review it again then reopen.
Second.
Moved and second that we delay the reopening. All in favor, roll call vote.
Ms. Estrada?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Kane?
Aye.
Mr. Campbell?
Thank you. Ms. Drummond will notify those renters that are currently scheduled for June and July that the Golden Leaf will not be open for that time. The next item on the agenda is the economic development position. Natalie Slade is here to present information in regards to this current vacant position.
Good evening again. In June of 2020, the position of Economic Development Administrative Assistant became vacant. At that time, due to uncertainty of the budget and epidemic effects on the county, the position was frozen and unfilled. I'm now requesting the position be advertised for fulfillment with the revised job description before you. Actually, we're going to do that differently, with a revised job description. Over the last year, my travel has been extremely limited. However, virtual meetings are beginning to evolve back into face-to-face meetings. I currently represent Greensville County on 7 boards and commissions outside of the office. These organizations meet a minimum once a month, and some meet more often. In addition, I attend professional development seminars and economic development conferences several times a year. To fulfill my duties as the Director of Economic Development, I'm often away from the office. As a result, return phone calls, paperwork, and other obligations are delayed. Filling this position would help continue smooth operations in the Economic Development Department. In addition to the previous job description, staff is requesting the addition of website content maintenance duties. The county has recently invested funds in a new website design that will allow online bill payment, form download and submission, and a current meeting calendar, allowing easier and user-friendly access and service to the public. Keeping this information updated is vital to the public as well as the staff. Once the site is live, the position requested would also be responsible for that upkeep. The position is in the current budget, as well as the proposed 2022 fiscal year budget. No additional funds are requested for this position. Staff requests the board authorize staff to revise the job description, how we stated earlier, for the website maintenance. And after the board's agreement, staff requests authorization to advertise for the assistant position. Any questions I can answer?
Do you all have any questions for Ms. Slade?
I don't have any questions. Ms. Slade has done an amazing job in our, in economic development, and I think it's time to give her the help that she needs to run her department effectively. So I move that we advertise for the vacant position in economic development administrative support.
Second.
I'm sorry, to revise the job description first and then advertise.
So
It's been moved and second that we advertise position. All in favor, the roll call vote.
Ms. Estrada?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Kane?
Aye.
Mr. Conway?
Thank you.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is Virginia Career Works. This is in request to a refund of $1,534 for Cherry Creek disallowed costs, which is attachment K in the agenda packet. Do you all have any discussion in regards to this?
I have so many questions in regards to this. I would like to see us table it until we can get more answers from, the Cradle Regional Workforce Development Board.
Ms. Astrop has requested to table this matter.
Second. All in favor, roll call vote.
Ms. Estrada?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Kane?
Aye.
Mr. Conway?
Thank you. This item has been referred to a future meeting. Next, E&F for proclamations. Ms. Kathy Howerton will present proclamations to the Greensville County Fire Department and also Jarrett Volunteer Fire Department. Ms. Howerton.
Good evening. Chief from the Greensville County Fire Department. Can you come forward, please? Proclamation recognizing National Volunteer Firefighter Week, April the 18th through 24th, 2021. Whereas volunteer firefighters leave their families and put their lives on the line every day for our citizens, businesses, and community. And whereas firefighters volunteer 24/7, 365 under dangerous conditions to answer emergency calls. And whereas volunteer firefighters are the first responders and serve our community in an extraordinary way by responding to all kinds of emergencies. And whereas there would be no fire department without the brave firefighters who comprise the fire department. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Greensville County Board of Supervisors does hereby proclaim April 18 through 24, 2021 as National Volunteer Firefighter Week in Greensville County and recognizes the selfless contributions of these valuable firefighters of the Greensville County Fire Department. Thank you very much.
This is on behalf of all members, past members, honorary members. Thank y'all.
Chief of the Jarrett Volunteer Fire Department, please come forward. Proclamation recognizing National Volunteer Firefighter Week, April 18 through 24, 2021. Whereas volunteer firefighters lead their families and put their lives on the line every day for our citizens, businesses, and communities. And whereas volunteer firefighters work 24/7, 365 under dangerous conditions to answer emergency calls. And whereas volunteer firefighters are the first responders and serve our community in an extraordinary way by responding to all kinds of emergencies. And whereas there would be no fire department without the brave firefighters who comprise the fire department. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Greensville County Board of Supervisors does hereby proclaim April 18 through 24, 2021 as National Volunteer Firefighter Week in Greensville County and recognizes the selfless contributions of these valuable firefighters of the Jarrett Volunteer Fire Department. Thank you.
Members of the Jarrett Fire Department greatly appreciate this recommendation. Thank you.
The final item on your agenda is the COVID-19 update, which is provided in Friday memo. There are no other items. We would like to have a motion to adjourn. So moved.
Been moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor? Roll call vote.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We need to adjourn.
Yes, I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Banks. We need a motion to adjourn to a budget work session on Monday, April the 26th at 12 p.m.
So moved. Been moved and seconded to adjourn to April 26th. All in favor? Roll call vote.
To approve the consent agenda, because I really cannot hear, because there's too much talking in the room, but I have that's what we're moving on.
Okay.
Mr. Kane. Mr. Clifford.
Okay. There's no public hearing, item appointment, none, old business, new business. WS 2144.
Attachment C in your agenda packet is resolution WS 21-44. It is a resolution of the governing body of the Greensville County Water and Sewer Authority. In order to facilitate obtaining financial assistance from the United States of America, Department of Rural Development in development of the upgrades for the Jarrett Water Treatment Plant to serve the community, the governing body does hereby adopt and abide by all covenants contained in the agreements, documents, and forms required by the government to be executed. Be it further resolved that the Director of the Greensville County Water and Sewer Authority be authorized to execute on behalf of the Board of Directors the above referenced agreements, documents, and forms, and to execute such other documents, including but not limited to debt instruments, security investments, instruments, and/or grant agreements, as may be required to obtain the said financial assistance. If there are no questions, staff recommends that you adopt resolution WS 21-44.
I move we adopt resolution WS 21-44 presented.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Ashcraft. Mr. Brown. Mr. Kane. Mr. Conway.
Attachment 2145.
Yes, sir. Attachment D in your agenda packet is resolution WS 21-45. It is another resolution regarding the Jarrett Water Treatment Plant expansion. The Water and Sewer Authority is investigating funding options for the water treatment plant expansion project. Rural development is one of the potential funding sources. Rural development is requiring that the Water and Sewer Authority advertise the public notice of its intent to apply for funding and to hold a public hearing on this project. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Directors of the Water and Sewer Authority authorizes the staff to advertise the public notice and schedules a public hearing on the proposed project at the Golden Leaf Commons on May 17, 2021 at 6 p.m. If there are no questions, staff recommends that you adopt resolution WS 21-45.
Move we adopt resolution WS 21-45 as presented.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Ashcraft. Mr. Brown. Mr. Kane. Mr. Conway.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Ashcraft. Mr. Brown. Mr. Kane. Mr. Conway.
Aye.